Practicing latitude and longitude. If you need help with practicing latitude and longitude, you're going to use this video. So where is it located? We're in our course, and you're going to go to your Unit 1 folder, and in your Lesson 1 folder, and you'll scroll down until you see latitude and longitude practice. You can also go through grades and choose that as well. So what you're going to see is you're going to see 3 pages available to you. One is a video. The second one is a map. Then I'm going to show you a different map that you can use. And then the third one is the coordinates that you need to map. So how does that work? How do we map those coordinates? So in the same folder, in the Lesson 1 folder, you will see a PDF map right here of the world that we're going to use to help us find these coordinates. All right, so once the map comes up, you want to use the map from the equator. The equator is located on the right side of the map, and it is 0 degrees. Okay, so we come over here where we can see the equator, 0. And we always want to start on our equator. If we go above the equator, we're going north. If we go below the equator, we're going south. And then you can see across the top, you have numbers here. Now, this 0 right here is the prime meridian. You'll notice that 15, 30, 45, 60, those are positive numbers. So that is east. But then you'll notice to the left of the prime meridian, you have negative numbers. Negative 15, 30, negative 45, negative 60. All the way up to negative 165. Then you'll see that it changes to 180 and positive. Okay, and the rest of the way out, you will see positive numbers. Okay, so all of these positive numbers are east directions, and the negative numbers are west longitudes. Okay, so our first one was 30 north and 110 west. So as I said, go to your equator. So we're coming over here to where we can see our equator is 0. Okay, so start here. We're going 15, and our next line is 30. And it wants us to go 110 to the west. So I'm going to scroll this up to where we can see our top. So I am on my 30 line, and I'm going to go past here because those are negative. I'm sorry, to the 0. There's a prime meridian. Now I've got negative. And I need 110 because I am west. So that's going to land me, here's 105 and 120, so it's going to land me right in between at the 30 line. So that ends me up in Mexico. All right, we go back to the equator. So we're back at the equator, and our next coordinates are 0 degrees and 60 west. So 0 degrees means I'm going to stay right here, and 60 west means I am going to a negative 60. So I'm going to come from my equator and go to 60 negative, okay, and where it meets the equator. So I'm right here, and this is in South America, Brazil more specifically. All right, next I'm going to go back to my equator, which is my 0 line right here, and I'm going 40 north and 120 degrees west. So I'm going to go 15, 30, and the next one's 45, so I'm going to come down to about Uzbekistan right here, and then I need to go 120 to the west. That's going to make 120 a negative number, so I'm going to come across here, and here is 120, and here was 40. That puts me about here. That's going to put me in this area right here, which would be California. All right, I'm going back to my equator, and at the equator, I'm going to go 0 degrees and 30 to the east. So 0 degrees means I'm going to stay right here, and 30 to the east means I'm going to go to the positive 30. So we have 60, 45, 30, and down to the equator, and that lands me right here, in Uganda. Okay, I'm going to go back to the equator, and from the equator it wants me to go 30 south and 120 east. So south is below the equator, 15 and 30, and 120 east is the positive 120. So if you'll remember from the top, we had positive numbers up to the 0, and then we have a barrage of negative numbers to 165. So we got to go past those to the 120 east. So here is 120 east, and we were 30 below the equator, which is 120, 30 and 120. That's us in Australia. All right, back to my equator. I am at the equator right here, and I'm going to go 52 degrees north and 0 west. So at the equator, 15, 30, 45, and then 60, so I'm going to be somewhere in between. And I have to go to 0 degrees west, which takes me to the prime meridian. So from here, I'm going over to the 0 at the top. Here's the 0, and I'm at about 52 right here. So here's my 60 line. Here is 0 and 50. It puts us in what's known as United Kingdom, or more specifically, Great Britain. I'm going back to the equator, and from the equator, I'm going 30 south, 30 east. So I'm going below the equator, 15, 30, and 30 to the east, which is positive 30. And remember, that's right here. So 30 and 30. That ends me in South Africa. All right, I'm going back to the equator, and this time I'm going 60 degrees north and 120 west. So 60 degrees north would be above the equator, 15, 30, 45, and 60. And 120 degrees west is going to be a negative number. So I'm going to look up here at the top. I'm going across 60. And here I'm in negatives, 15, 30, 45, 60, 75, 90, 105, and 120. So if I go 60 north and 120 west, it's going to put me right here in this area. All right, going back to my equator, back to the equator, and I'm going 60 north, 60 east. Okay, so if I go 60 north, 15, 30, 45, 60, and 60 to the east is the positive 60, which is right here. So I'm going where 60 and 60 meet, and it puts me right here in this area. All right, I'm going back to the equator, and from the equator, I am going 30 degrees north, 30 degrees east. So I've got 15, 30 degrees right here, and I'm going 30 degrees to the east, so that means I am going to positive 30 right here. So I'm going on the 30 line, and I'm going from Pakistan to 30, puts me right here in this area, 30, 30. Okay, I'm going back to the equator, and from the equator I'm going 30 degrees north, 30 degrees north, and 90 degrees east. So 15, 30 is about where Pakistan is, and I need to go to 90 degrees east. So if we look across our top, we don't have a positive 90 on this side, so you have to go all the way through the negative numbers. This is our 180, and from here they begin to go positive again. So I'm looking for positive 90, and where positive 90 meets 30 degrees. So positive 90 coming down to where 30 degrees is puts me in this area right here, home to China. All right, our next one, back to the equator. Okay, starting out my equator. So I'm here at the equator, and I need to go 47 north, and 2 degrees to the east. So 47 north is 15, 30, 45, and 47 would be slightly above it. Okay, and to go to 2 east, I need to go where the 0 is, or positive 2. So I'm going to come where I was at Kakistan, 47 degrees. And right inside the 0 line would be 2, so about 47 and 2 is going to put me right here in this area. All right, going back to the equator. Okay, and from the equator, this time I need to go 41 south and 175 east. So I'm going below the equator for south, 15, 30, 45, and I was only going 41, so I need to back it up a little. So I'm going to stay on the 45 mark, and I need to go to 175 east, so that's going to be a positive number. So here I'm negative, 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 and then I get to 180 and 165, so I'm going to be somewhere in between here. And I also need to go to 41, so I'm coming right here by the 180 and 165. This white line, the international timeline, is kind of a place to help us see where we are, and we're going south, so stay by this line, and we're going down to 41. So if you go, here's 30 and here's 45, what falls right in there would be this country. Okay, and then our last one is a little bit hard for you to see on here because my map is actually not big enough, but we're still going to walk it through. So we're going to go to our equator. I'm going to actually stay on this side. So here's my equator on this side is at 0, and it wants us to go to 83 south. So we're going to go 15, 30, 45, 60, and then we would actually be down another line, 75, and then the last line would be 90. We're at the South Pole. So we're almost to the South Pole. We're going to go 83 degrees south and 135 degrees to the east. And so that is a positive 135, which is here. So if we take this line all the way down to the very bottom of our map, you're going to find that you are here in Antarctica. All right, so hopefully this helped you understand better how to do practicing latitude and longitude.